You might be wondering how to remember the key differences between the American, British, and French constitutions for UPSC. You might also be confused about why one is called written, another unwritten, and how that matters in exams. By the end of this video, you will be completely clear about these constitutions and how to answer comparative questions confidently. We'll keep it simple and build the idea step by step, focusing on what examiners want. First, think of a constitution as an instruction manual for a country's political system, like a user guide for a complex machine. Now let's look at three smart examples: the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. Start with the American Constitution. It is a short written document drafted in 1787 and operational from 1789. Key idea 1. Written and rigid. Changing it needs a high threshold and wide consensus. Imagine changing software that needs approval from 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of states. That's the amendment process. This rigidity means stability and strong protection for rights, like the Bill of Rights added in 1791. Structure-wise, the USA is federal. Powers are divided clearly between the central government and the states. The American system is presidential. The president is both head of state and head of government with a fixed term. Separation of powers is central. Legislative powers in Article 1, executive in Article 2, judicial in Article 3. Checks and balances are practical. Vetoes, Senate confirmations, and judicial review keep branches in check. Judicial review makes the Supreme Court the guardian of the Constitution and a powerful arbiter of civil liberties. For UPSC, remember, American examples are often used to illustrate rigid constitutions, judicial review, and strong separation of powers. Next, the British Constitution. Think of it as an evolving patchwork rather than a single manual. It is mostly unwritten, built from statutes, conventions, common law, and authoritative commentaries like Dicey. Key idea 2. Flexible and evolved. Parliament can change constitutional rules by ordinary legislation. Picture a river that changes course over centuries. The British system adapts through practice rather than formal amendments. Great Britain is a unitary state with devolved institutions, not a federal system like the US. Government is parliamentary. The executive emerges from the legislature and ministers sit in parliament. Parliamentary sovereignty is crucial. Courts cannot strike down acts of parliament as unconstitutional in the British model. Conventions, such as the monarch acting on ministerial advice, are strong even if not legally enforceable. Also note unique British features: the cabinet, prime ministerial dominance, and the shadow cabinet as a formal opposition tool. For UPSC answers, use the British model to explain flexibility, parliamentary supremacy, and constitutional conventions. Now switch to France, the Fifth Republic, designed in 1958 to bring stability after repeated changes. France has a written and rigid constitution, but combines features of both presidential and parliamentary systems. This hybrid is called quasi-presidential. A strong, directly elected president plus a prime minister responsible to parliament. Key idea 3. Unitary state with a powerful executive, a rationalized parliament, and a constitutional council for review. Think of France as a blended model. A strong captain with a manager who must keep parliament happy. The Constitutional Council reviews laws for constitutional compliance, but its role differs from the US Supreme Court model. Referendums and presidential emergency powers are important French tools that affect governance in crises. For UPSC, France is a great example when discussing hybrid systems, centralized power, and constitutional safeguards like the Council. A quick practical tip for answers: always link the feature to its practical effect: stability, flexibility, rights protection, or democratic control. When comparing use four clear axes: written versus unwritten, rigid versus flexible, federal versus unitary, and presidential versus parliamentary. Use simple examples. Amendment difficulty shows rigidity. Who can annul laws shows judicial power. Who runs government shows system type. This concept is very important for your exams because comparative constitutional questions often test your ability to explain implications, not just definitions. Questions from this topic are often asked in polity mains and in international relations or public administration contexts. Now, a short memory trick. Imagine three buildings: the US as a fortress with strict rules, the UK as a workshop adapting tools, and France as a modern hybrid tower. The fortress stands for rigidity and judicial defense, the workshop for conventions and parliamentary sovereignty, and the tower for a strong central figure plus checks. Another exam strategy. Start answers with a one-line definition, then compare two or three features and conclude with implications for governance. Support answers with dated examples. Philadelphia Convention 1787 for the US, Magna Carta and Dicey for UK traditions, and 1958 for France's Fifth Republic. Also add one contemporary relevance line. For instance, judicial review debates in the US or recent UK devolution tensions. And towards the end, we will understand a key idea that most UPSC aspirants miss. Context matters more than labels. That means explain why a constitution looks rigid or flexible by pointing to history, political culture, and crises that shaped choices. For example, the US founders feared majoritarian tyranny, so they built separation of powers and a strong judiciary. Britain evolved conventions because gradual change fit its political evolution, while France chose a strong presidency to end instability. Quick summary. American Constitution: written, rigid, federal, presidential, strong judicial review. British Constitution: largely unwritten, flexible, unitary, parliamentary, and sovereign parliament. French Constitution: written, relatively rigid, unitary, quasi-presidential, with a constitutional council and special emergency powers. You now have clear, exam-ready anchors to compare these constitutions and write structured answers under time pressure. If you practice this structure, you will find comparative questions much easier to handle on the UPSC paper. Keep practicing by making two-column notes and one-line conclusions for each feature and country. If you want more, EduRev has short notes, quizzes, and full videos that follow this exact exam-friendly approach. Join EduRev for a focused revision plan and model answers that help you convert knowledge into marks. Thanks for listening. Keep revising smartly, and I'll see you in the next EduRev lesson.